First, a police officer gets abducted, released. Now, a JCO gets abducted on leave. Your comments.
No doubt, it's very unfortunate. Earlier, just 10 days back, additional SP was abducted, and in fact, the inspector was also abducted with him, and he was injured, and thereafter he was rescued. Now, a JCO who was on leave, he has been abducted. See, the point what is happening is, as far as the valley is concerned, there is no disturbed area notification, and due to which all this so-called militant group, whether it is basically the RM by Thoubal or other militant group, they are operating, and they have sort of abducted this JCO, and now the whereabouts are not known. Now, my point is that we have been talking about it once, that there is Armed Forces Special Power Act in the hills. I suppose the time has come that you may have to impose for a limited duration Armed Forces Special Power Act in the Manipur Valley also. Otherwise, you'll find it that the law and order will deteriorate, and the new normal is that the now all these militant groups will start abducting the people from the security forces to put pressure on the government, and that's not a good sign. We thought that the situation is improving, limping back to normalcy, but such incident again take the situation back where it started off. Now, possibly this JCO may not have been harmed. They are trying to search it, but I feel the coordinated effort can only be made once the whole Manipur Valley is being considered as a disturbed area, notification done, Armed Forces Special Power Act then can be applied. Then the security forces, especially armed Indian Army as well as Assam Rifle, can then operate. And that is a requirement of the day in case you want to effective. These incidents are happening too very often, and they send a wrong message to the public as such that things are still not under control. Kartikeya.
Mr. Chakma, first the SP, then a JCO, the guy was on leave. And what I find surprising is, if you can take both the questions, senior IGP IK Muiva is being quoted saying, if police is not allowed to work, then disturbed areas notification under the Armed Forces Special Power Act, might become a possibility, in the sense that he says that it would necessitate the presence of central forces in the Valley district, where the disturbed areas notification and the Armed Forces Special Power Act is not applicable, unlike in the Hill district. It's like a warning.
Well, I think it's a joke at this point of time. If the IG is saying that, it's a joke on the people who are suffering, because who is stopping the police from taking action? Obviously, nobody is stopping. And if there is somebody stopping the police from taking action, then obviously, even if you impose Armed Forces Special Powers Act, still, those restrictions will be there. And that's where I think, I slightly disagree with General Sivaj. Of course, we do not have possibly any options except imposing Armed Forces Special Powers Act. But the problem here is the KUKI groups and the Central Armed Forces in the hilly areas, they have some understanding, and the KUKI groups will abide by or will not confront the central security forces. So therefore, the imposition of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act is effective. But when it comes to the valley, obviously the central security forces are seen with suspicion, not only by the non-state actors, even by the police and the common citizenry. So if you impose the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, it would mean return to the kind of situation which we had seen during the insurgency in early 2000 and onwards. But that's the situation which the state government can afford. And also the situation of insurgency in the valley has changed, because the insurgent groups earlier had a couple of hundred members here and there. And today, if you take Arambam Kengal into account, they have about 50,000 members, and we do not even know how many arms they have. So if you start imposing, or the central security forces start operating on the Armed Forces Powers Act, then obviously you have to come to a situation where there will be massive confrontation between the civilians and the armed forces, who, because of the frustration, as stated by the IGP Muiba, then they will have to take, the law, act as per the law, and that's not something which will be allowed. So that's why I think it's a mess which is created, and at the end of the day, I think there is so much of arms and ammunition and hatred. I do not even know, how does one bring the situation into normalcy. And if you go to Manipur, one thing is very clear: the police doesn't exist. The chief minister Reid doesn't run beyond his possibly office. The armed forces are not available there. So, people have been left to fend themselves. It's completely lawless situation out there. And that's why, a JCO has been kidnapped, and more such kind of incidents will take place. And the worst thing would be if the JCO has been kidnapped actually has been kidnapped by the people from his own community. At this moment, we do not know. Imagine if he has been kidnapped by armed groups or non-state actors from his own group, then the situation has taken a completely different turn. It's no longer about the communal situation between two communities. It's absolute, lawlessness in the valley.